that value up front. That's all I wrote down. That's so much of how what I preach today, arrivals, right? How do you get 100% arrival rate when you make sure people understand the value? It has to be the first checkbox. And I just got off a call with some other people, and I'm constantly going back and forth. I love this about you hang up with a potential new patient, right? So whoever, anybody in your company takes a call, you hang up. And I go, what happens if I did a follow-up call immediately after you hung up? And I said, hey, Bill, my name's Jerry Durham. You just spoke to the group over at the Movement Doctors, correct? Yeah. So why are you showing up on Thursday at 12 o'clock? All right. You just scheduled for Thursday. So tell me, why are you showing up on Thursday? Right. And I'm like, if we had that information immediately and that feedback, then we could continue to tweak, continue to improve, or continue to go, we're doing what we need to do. But how many people would want to open themselves up to they took my insurance? Anything else? Well, no, that's about it. My doctor sent me over, and that's got to be like 75% of PT arrivals in the whole US of A, right? I love it. Value up front.
Questions when people fill out our web forms. Do you take my insurance? And that is a red flag that our people are trained on, is that's probably not going to be our ideal patient. So your first job when you get on with this person is to see if they're the right fit. And then even if they are the right fit, we have an uphill battle for managing a payment standpoint.
Yeah, that's we'll go into that a little deeper later. I want you to continue to share your story, how you got here, because I know you've done some big things along this journey that I've looked at that I still see every day. So share your journey of what's been going on, how you got here today.
The idea that helped me get to Las Vegas and get that student business award was something called Marching Health. I am a former world-class drumline performer as well as instructor. And I was teaching one of the top 10 high school drumlines and marching bands in America, Wando High School. They're based in Charleston, South Carolina, where I was attending the Medical University of South Carolina. And I would go to class all day and go straight to the band practice field and teach their drumline every evening or do private lessons. And so they had about a band of 220 kids a day were sitting on the sidelines. And I said, we can't have this continue going into next year. And actually, that was brought to me by their staff. They said one of our biggest deficits is not playing the instrument. It is their ability to play the instrument because they're too tired, or it is their ability to practice. We're not making enough progress in practice because too many students are sitting out. And that impacted them negatively from a competition standpoint. They went from 8th in America to being 10th in just the Southeast Regional that year. And I sat and listened. I was a first year staff member, still in PT school, very green at the time. They had world champion staff members. I mean, the best people in America. And I was in a hotel room with everybody after the devastating drop from top 10 to barely being in the 10th place in Southeast. I listened to their verbalizations of these problems where student health was really low and injuries were accruing. And I said, well, I think I could solve this. If you guys give me 15 minutes at the start of every rehearsal, I'm going to take them through a proper dynamic warm-up. Dynamic warm-ups are not revolutionary to physical therapists. Dynamic warm-ups are revolutionary in the band world. They're used to sitting down and playing their instrument. They are not used to being an athlete. They did band because they didn't want to do sports in many cases. And then I said, if you guys give me 10 minutes after that, so 15 total, I'll create a program, I'll make it up and make it as specific to the marching band demands as possible. And it took me about 3 years to fully craft it. But the difference between year 1 and year 2 is we went from 20 kids a day dropping out to only 2. And both of those kids had pre-existing medical issues we already knew about and expected. And that was revolutionary. They reclaimed status as the number 8 band in America the following year. So they saw results immediately. The kids, after they got through the first couple of sessions with me, started to buy in because they saw results. And then they also learned how their body feels when they physically give their best. They got the good hormones, the oxytocin, the dopamine rewards from starting to exercise before practice and achieving something as simple as maybe holding a 30-second plank for the first time in their life, or the first time they ever succeeded in doing a push-up. Those moments were happening before they started practice. And so they already had wins accruing. I had never had a blog, didn't even have Instagram, but decided when I was going to graduate PT school that I was going to start a blog about it. And the first blog I ever posted, I put on Facebook, and I thought maybe if 30 people see this, I'll be excited. It got shared just like wildfire, and 70,000 people were reached on the first hit. And I said, well, I guess I got to do a second one.
Well, not only do you got to do a second one, but boy, did you find a niche that needed some attention, right? Because I mean that's right there, right? Yeah, that's cool.
And then I did not have a business model. I didn't have any business ideas about what to do here. This was actually slightly different than the concept I'd created for PPS. That concept was using bands as a marketing tool to get people in a private practice, not working with bands directly. And one of my drumline dads, the student's father, took me aside after a private lesson one day. He had left his corporate law job. He was a lawyer and started a law firm just defending bicyclists after he had tragically lost his brother to a bicycling accident. And he is, probably single-handedly the reason that Charleston, South Carolina has bike lanes from the historic Battery all the way to the beach, because he's helped change laws. He's got lawyers in 30 something states that defend cyclists. And he took me to lunch one day, sat me down very humbly and said, hey, tell me what your vision is. And then just ripped my vision apart, gave me a whole new model and said, this is the behavior your band students already have. I know because my son is one. If you create a business on this, you're going to go on site. You're going to take the program that was successful with Wando. You're going to stop talking about rotator cuff tears or elbow tendonitis. No one cares. You're going to talk about the things band kids care about. That's going to be your marketing. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to say, here's the top 10 shoes every band kid should choose from before their marching band season. Or here are 3 things you can do to prepare your body for the season so that you're not sitting on the sidelines this year. And sure enough, I listened to every piece of advice this guy gave. Our top 10 shoes blog is the #1 blog every year.
Dude, and you just had a post. Did you not have a post like 2-3 weeks ago on the 2 weeks ago?
Post. We have a shoe deal now.
Yeah, I had a feeling, dude. I saw that post. I went, I think there might be a time, but I loved it. Right. So I saw that post. I saw the shoe post. Dude.
So we went from top 10 to realizing people also respond 5x the amount to worst shoes you could wear. So
I've seen those, dude. I love that one. I actually enjoy watching that one rather than, hey, here's the shoe. I like all the bad examples because, right, they come with all the fun stuff, right?
Exactly. And then I've just come up with little mnemonics along the way, or teaching tools like, if you can twist your shoe like a Twizzler, it is not supportive enough for marching band. If you can fold your shoe like a taco, it is not supportive enough for marching band. And I just went into our classic Mexican restaurant in our small town, asked for a taco shell and held it next to a Vans that I flipped in half. And I got 1.5 million views. And then the shoe companies for marching bands, uniform companies, started reaching out. And we have a huge shoe deal that just launched this month and have the top released hybrid athletic and marching band shoe that they have to wear with their uniforms and match everyone on the field. And that is the big release of 2025 in the band world. We just went to a national convention in Texas, and the biggest piece sold in 2025 is this new shoe being released.
I saw that post, by the way.
Yeah, that's all a gift from God in the process of just growing this. But the business now goes and teaches our workout programs live, teaching band students how to run these. The biggest piece is that my band director poured into me as a young leader in high school and helped me change a lot of my communication styles with peers, helped me to be a better leader and better human being. And so we equip high school band student leaders with leadership skills in the process. They use our workout programs as a medium to build communication skills, learn to motivate their peers, and learn how to teach. And then those skills apply to everything else they do on the band field and life. And then in the process of that, the question we're never asked by these school districts and bands is, do you take my insurance? So I started learning the value.
I'm dying over here.
So the sales, what I would do, I'll just transparently say, everything I heard from Jared Carter, Paul Goff, Jerry Durham, I just listened to their podcast like a sponge in my last year of PT school and then onwards. And I said, how can I translate this? How can I turn this into something I could say to a band director on a phone call who needs our programs? Because if the top 10 band in the country needs it, every other band in the country needs this. And we've grown a following of tens of thousands. And every year we go do at least 50 live clinics in the summertime and have a team that goes and does it for us now. And we use the exact same systems from the physical therapy world because business is business.
If you'd like to learn more about Strata PT and see how our EMR and RCM works, head over to stratapt.com to book a demo.